Okay, let me give you my honest thoughts on Strixhaven, as I had really high hopes for this book. Strixhaven is a school for the magical arts based on the lore from Magic the Gathering. There are several specialty schools under the big banner of Strixhaven, kind of like Harry Potter houses, but more divided into areas of interest, like you might have a film school and a business school under one university. Your PCs can be from any school, and there are some good backgrounds and feats to make them feel distinct. It also introduced a host of fully fleshed out NPCs, plus a gameplay mechanic that gave you certain benefits and drawbacks if you befriended certain NPCs or became a rival of them respectively. And there were great new monsters that you can use in any campaign. But the book kind of fell down with the adventures, at least for me. They were relatively juvenile and formulaic. They didn't feel like there was a lot of meaningful choices for the PCs to make, so I kind of lost interest in running it as a campaign, and I was planning to run it. But the book itself does bring a really cool setting, the NPCs, the monsters, magic items, and there are those new mechanics, including one about studying and schoolwork that I was kind of curious to try out. I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not. It really is just the adventure itself, well, the loosely connected 4 adventures to be exact, that didn't really excite me. There are some Strixhaven adventures on DM's Guild that may be better, and of course lots of folks just like to run their own stories anyway. So today we are going to look at the minis for some of the monsters introduced in Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos. This is Strixhaven box number 1, ignore my face in the reflection there, and there are definitely some interesting minis in here. Be aware that this review will contain a couple of spoilers for the Strixhaven campaign, though as always I'll try to keep them light. But before we jump in, I have a new Kickstarter to tell you about. Mammoth Chronicles launches today, and boy does it live up to its name. The book features 8 fantastic, fully play-tested 5e adventures, explore a radiant dragon empire, encounter abomination werewolves, infernal blacksmiths, eldritch plane shifters, and more. And they have you covered no matter how you play. You like in-person games with minis? They have a 250-page physical book and 131 premium pre-supported STL minis that you can print at home. If 3D printing isn't your bag, they also have paper minis to get the fantastic art on your table without breaking the bank. Prefer to play online? Pick up the PDFs, the VTT tokens, and the Roll20 module. You can get a free CR20 Legendary Mammoth STL file and its stat block just by visiting the Kickstarter page. And you can back at the $1 level and get a Radiant Dragon STL file and a PDF and Roll20 one-shot. Back in the first 48 hours to get everything at a discount. You can find the Mammoth Chronicles Kickstarter at the link in the corner of your screen or in the doohickey down below. This set starts off with a bang with the Daemogoth on a huge size base. These are fiends who collect forbidden knowledge and magic and feed on anguish. You'll often find them grazing in battlefields and other places of great tragedy, feasting on the lingering emotions in the air. And like most fiends, they're willing to deal with mortals, often trading secrets and magical influence over others for a mortal's agony. They have a CR of 10, and their stat block includes a ritual bonding in which a mortal can learn and cast any 3rd level or lower necromancy or enchantment spell without components, though it does suffer 2d6 psychic damage on each casting, and it can only cast that spell once per long rest. Groff are basically swamp dogs. They're plant creatures who lurk just under the surface, waiting for something tasty to walk by. They have a particular taste for these things called pest mascots, which are magic-filled bugs, essentially. And sometimes students use Groff to track down those pest mascots, though the Groff themselves are kind of hard to control. Groff are large-sized creatures who can engulf others that they capture with their claws. Its base features some cool translucent swamp water as well. The Oriq are a secret society of mages who dabble in forbidden magic. When their leader was passed over for a promotion in a corner office, he split from the school and started a nefarious plan to see Strixhaven destroyed. They infiltrate the campus from time to time to search for powerful magics and impressionable, disaffected students that they can bring over to their side. There are 2 Oriq stat blocks in the book, the Oriq Blood Mage with a CR of 9, and the Oriq Recruiter with a CR of 4. This mini is fairly generic, so you could use it for a dark PC or NPC, and with that mask, they could be any number of races. The mask does provide some mechanical bonuses as well. This super cool mini is a Clockwork Archivist. It's programmed with knowledge of all the lore contained within the walls of Strixhaven, and they're used to work on the school's various libraries. And they're one of the few creatures in D&D who speak all languages. If you're looking for a robot companion for your PC or NPC, and you don't mind it being large and on wheels, this is a mini that you'll probably want to get on the table as often as possible. It is that cool. It has a CR of 4. This set is definitely heavy on the swamp creatures. This large-sized monstrosity is called a brackish trudge in the book. They're plant creatures made of sentient fungus and vegetation. The older they get, the more varied and colorful are the plants and mushrooms that make up its body. They're unaligned creatures who are nevertheless rather territorial and grumpy. If you do find yourself angering one, avoid its tusks, which are laced with a deadly fungus spore. They're also quite difficult to kill, being all fungusy and everything. It has a CR of 3. This unassuming little bullywug is one of the villains that you'll face later in the Strixhaven campaign. He's a CR9, mean-spirited, egotistical spellcaster, though he doesn't actually have any spells in his stat block. He actually spent some time at Strixhaven as a student where he had a particular interest in life-draining magic, which is a forbidden topic of study, as you might imagine. The paint job on this mini is a little bit darker than I would like. It obscures many of the lovely little details of the figure, and it makes it kind of hard to read from a distance, especially given its size. But if you're playing the Strixhaven adventure, you'll want this mini or a suitable bullywug replacement, as the character is quite important to the story. And if you're looking for a fun adventure or setting for your Strixhaven minis or the Strixhaven setting itself, I think Humblewood from our sponsor Hit Point Press would be perfect. They have a new Kickstarter going on right now for Humblewood Tales, which features 5 short adventures and expanded lore for the Tree City of Alderheart, a great location for Strixhaven. Many of the adventures have that same theme of the perversion of nature, which makes this a natural fit. The Kickstarter also includes minis, dice, a vinyl soundtrack, and the 200-plus page book, which includes 3 new subclasses, new monsters, magic items, and more. Humblewood is great on its own or when combined with material like Strixhaven. Humblewood Tales is available as a book, box set, and a Kickstarter exclusive collector's edition. Check it out at the link in the corner of your screen or in the doohickey down below the video before it is too late. Now here's a look at all the minis in the set together so you can get a sense of their scale. Daemogoth alone is such an impressive mini and worthy of his own campaign. If you're playing a Strixhaven adventure, I'm sure this set is a no-brainer. Otherwise, of course, it's going to be a bit of a harder sell. I think Daemogoth is amazing, and if your adventures go into swampy areas pretty often, you can certainly make use of the Trudge and the Groff minis. The Clockwork Archivist might be tricky to slot in, but if you're playing something with an inventor, steampunky style, like the Outlaws of Alkenstar, it is an awesome mini. The Oriq Mage is a bit generic, and Murgaxor is cool in concept, but being small and dark, he just kind of blends into the table. So overall, the set, like most of them, is a bit of a mixed bag and largely depends on whether any of these figures fit the story you're trying to tell. Do remember that D&D Beyond does sell individual sections of the book, like the bestiary, and even individual stat blocks if you want to pick those up without buying the entire Strixhaven book. You can get all 47 Strixhaven stat blocks for $10, or pick up individual ones for $2 each. Strixhaven box number 1 is expected in August 2022 for $45 to $50. Let me know what you think of it in the comments section down below. We'll have our review of box number 2, which includes some of the NPCs very soon here, so be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. And our pre-order store is open for our Kobold plushies. At the time of the making of this video, we have the last few accessories en route to us for inspection. Things like the Druid and Barbarian packs, the little pseudo-dragon pet, and Kaku, our black Kobold monk, who was a surprise addition to the Kickstarter. We'll give you better looks at all of those in the coming weeks, but if you want to pick them up with a pre-order discount, check out koboldplush.com. And come chat with us on Discord and get the latest news and gossip on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For now, take care, have fun, love each other, and I'll see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.